Welcome back to another episode of Supergene Unleashed. I'm so excited to share today's conversation, not just because of who I'm speaking with, but how we met. A few months ago, I was on a company hike, and honestly, I was just expecting a good sweat, some fresh air. But when we reached the top of the mountain, there was Lina. She was completely peaceful, magnetic, and she was holding space for a sound healing session. I wasn't really expecting to be, cracked open or digging into anything deep at 9 a.m. with my coworkers nonetheless, but there we were. And after the sound healing session, Lina offered a card reading. And each person, if they wanted to participate, they could. They didn't have to participate, but you could just pull one card from this massive deck. And so I decided, why not? Let me see what does the universe have in store for me. And the card that I pulled was actually Damara, about guiding children. And what nobody knew at that point in time, in fact, not a single person at my company, was that I had just found out I was pregnant with twins. It was still my secret, and yet it seemed like such an insane sign because internally I was actually grappling with the acceptance of it being twins, because at first I was told it was only one. And so it really felt pretty karmic, I guess you could say, how Lina and I met. And today's guest is the incredible Lina Zoghaib. She is a yogi, she's a sound healer, an entrepreneur, and a mother whose story weaves together healing, heartbreak, courage, and intuition. And she's someone who has really turned her own transformation into a lifeline for others. And it's quite beautiful, the connection that I was able to form with her that day. So Lina, welcome to the show. I really wanted to share that story because it just struck a huge chord with me and I felt immediately connected to you. So I have to start by asking, do you ever get intuitive hits about people during your readings? And what was going through your mind that day on the mountain? Or was it just an everyday day of work for you?
Stacy, first, I'm so thrilled to be here with you. I cannot believe it. I still cannot believe how far you've come, and I'm so proud of you. To answer you, I feel a connection. Yes, that's what I feel. I feel like there is something special, and I'm curious to explore more. This is what I feel.
That's really exciting. And your energy, it really shines through when people meet you. And I'm sure that it comes through in your practice, and the wisdom that you're able to impart on people has definitely been shaped by everything that you've lived through. And that day on the mountain, what really drew me to you was your courage to literally just share with all of us, a complete group of strangers, your entire story. And so I'm grateful to know your story, but can you take our listeners back and share the journey that actually brought you here?
Well, Stacy, to begin with, I would love to highlight that each and every time I meet a group because of my work, I let the energy guide me. And with your group at the time is a corporate group coming to explore the mountains. But from my own background, I read the energy of the group. I read how everybody looked exhausted. It's morning time, but the looks on people's face, everyone seemed energetically compressed. So I felt like I had a calling that I needed to tell everyone, hey, I've been in your shoes. I've been in that corporate world myself. I know how much it feels heavy at times. I've experienced it myself at times. You dread yourself to go to work because you have to go so you can earn, so you can pay your bills. But what's not okay for me is after work on myself, after years of working on myself, is to get up every day with that victim mind. And I'll go back slowly, gradually with the story, because I, like you, also was working in the corporate world. And for a long time, I battled with this monkey mind, with this victim mind. I'm doing this for them. I'm being here. I don't know, as if I'm not being paid. It's a contract. I've agreed also to be here at work. You know what I mean? My personal journey began back in 2009, where also I was in I think that was the trigger of that time, is to kind of push me to that direction. I came out of a relationship and I didn't know how to deal with my emotions at that time. And it's something that a friend of mine pushed me to go to a yoga class, and I thought it's like yoga is like this place, like you go sit, do this, and it's a boring thing. And it's a blessing in disguise that this experience had to offer for me, because it was just an eye opening. I started going 3 times a week, because every time I showed up to this class, I discovered something about myself, and all the time that I kept internalizing like these ideas and thought and make myself a victim of this experience that I've gone through. And from these times that I used to go to yoga classes, I was curious to start going on retreats. From retreats and moving on and forward till 2014, I had the courage to say, you know what? Why is it that I'm always like, I have a great job. I earn good income. I'm showing up, like my colleagues are amazing. Like I work in a great atmosphere, but what is it in me that I'm not fulfilled? Why is it, even I change a job, everything go great for the first few months, but then again, I face the same emotion again rising for me. So I think these moments in yoga kind of made me come back to silence and stillness, that made me realize that there is something that needs to be addressed, but I didn't know what. So in 2014, I had the courage to leave the job, to leave the house, to leave the security that I had to the unknown.
You just left with nothing? You just decided one day, I'm going to quit?
Yes, I just quit the job. Like, why? What's going on? Everything's great. Yes, but within me, there's something unsettled, unfinished business with myself, and I need to figure out why. And I went to India for a year, and this time around, it was the most beautiful experience in my own story, because it brought me back to myself. And I was just basically searching for pieces within me that I had lost because of the busy life, because of the expectations of society, maybe. I think that was the main piece of my puzzle that was missing. It was myself was missing in the whole equation. That's why, you change relationship, you change job, you change it, but constantly the same emotion rising. So when I found that missing piece back in 2014, over a decade now, and this is it, my path was so clear. I knew exactly the job that I love to do. And I knew that at the time, even I have to go back to Dubai and get a corporate job again, my mindset has shifted. It's a service. I'm there to serve my company. They're there to pay me. And even though I'm not so passionate about the job, I need it just for this time around until I get comfortable, I would say, financially, until I start my own thing. So when I moved back to Dubai after a year, I've started a project called Yogi Truck, which you know about. And it's all about doing yoga and meditation outdoors. But at the same time, I needed to work. So I was working in another corporate company selling outdoor advertising space for the airport. But what changed at the time that I found myself and I was so fulfilled, you can tell my energy. Like the minute I walk into that room, first I sold so many deals. I closed so many deals, like millions of money I brought to the company. And at the same time, I found my ground. So after work, I would invite everyone to come do yoga, meditation with me at the beach. We do picnics. And on weekends, I started bringing people with me to the mountains, camping, hiking, cycling. So all the things that I love to do that I wasn't doing much before, I felt disconnected from myself. And then when I reconnected back with myself, I didn't want to miss a day not showing up to myself and the things that I started doing. Yogi Truck picked up through the project because making so much money with my corporate job. I told people, just come. You don't have to pay, but just donate. Whatever you donate, we will give it to orphans. So for 5 years, we were running an orphanage in Kenya, like everything what I made from yoga, meditation, and sound healing at the time. I just wanted to give back. That way it brought a purpose back for my heart, and I felt so fulfilled.
That's really beautiful.
Yes, so much, because you feel like your love keeps getting bigger and bigger, and you don't understand the magnitude of the work that you're doing. And you show up with so much energy because I was doing something I love doing. And the corporate job, I liked it, but I don't see myself doing advertising job. I love the healing part of my job. I love the freedom. I love to be free. I don't want to be confined in an office. So
even speaking to you now and seeing the way that you talk about each work, you have a different tone and a different excitement behind your voice. And you can see it on your face that you light up when it's about the healing and the yoga work. What has brought you forward since that point? So obviously you did leave the job yet again at some point in time. Is that correct?
You know, Stacy, I was forced again and again. Sometimes we don't trust ourselves enough to take a leap of faith and listen to our inner voice. And somehow life pushed me out of my comfort zone to be where I am today. So in 2017, I had just gotten married at the time. A month after getting married, I was diagnosed with cancer. At the time, I wanted to family. I wanted to be a mother, and that didn't happen. So again, I felt like, okay, what's this experience have to teach me? So my outlook to the experience of cancer also had changed. I was like, okay, it's an experience. I'm not sick. It's just an experience, and I'm going to go through it, and I will see what it has for me to learn. During the time I was taking the treatment, and I stayed here in Dubai, I came across a teacher in New York who teaches yoga and meditation for cancer patients. While doing chemotherapy, I was studying with her. And when I finished my treatment, I went to New York, got certified, and came back to Dubai, opened rehabilitation classes for cancer patients who had just finished their treatment, or to support their families as well. It's a whole new door that opened for me. And I was so scared, because it doesn't mean I had cancer or I teach yoga or meditation. I can be comfortable with other cancer patients, everyone coming with different stages and different stories. But the only one thing, I came back always to myself, and I realized how much yoga had helped me first find myself, had helped me ground, had helped me find my breath, had helped me find the connection with my mind, had helped me be okay with silence without trying to run away from dealing with my emotions. Then I said, I want to help these people. Why not? Everyone who comes across my way. I had the tools, then it helped me, then it worked magic. Like, imagine that the day I found that missing puzzle in my life, how it would feel to someone else. And I can contribute to this. So I did it with an open heart, but against all odds, I fell pregnant after 1 year of the treatment, which is crazy because also I didn't have a cycle.
Were you cancer free at that point? So basically, just to recap, you got married, and then within the first year of marriage, you were diagnosed with cancer, and you had a treatment for approximately 1 year. And the cancer diagnosis, that's what made you leave the job again, because you had to go through all this treatment, or were you still working?
I was still working, and all these little bits of pieces I'll share with you that left me to leave, because when I finished the treatment, after a year from the treatment, I fell pregnant. So at the time I felt pregnant, I had to deliver my baby, and that was 2020, the start of COVID. COVID happened. I got stuck in Canada, this is where my family live. And when airports were open and we returned back to the UAE, I was back. And it's the time when my employer said, because of all what happened, like, you need to start the job right away. And I said, I cannot. I just had a baby. I mean, the plan was to come earlier, but I couldn't come earlier. And then I left the job at the time. I left the job a year from that time. Again, in 2021, my husband said, I want to leave. I'm not happy in this relationship. And though I think we were a solid couple, I was not waiting for this news. Nothing in the world had prepared me to receive such a news in my life.
Oh, that's really difficult. So you were completely blindsided by this news.
Yeah, because it's a time that I had a baby, had cancer a year before that, then a baby, then in a country where I have no family, no support, no job. My baby is small, like 18 months. And it's the time as a woman, I needed my man to be next to me. And again, came back to
Yeah.
myself.
I mean, postpartum is really difficult. At least for me, it was really difficult. And I think that it takes time for you to have your hormones rebalanced after having a baby, especially with the first. It's such a big shock if you are a career-oriented woman or you have kids later in life. Both of these were applicable to me when I had my first child. And so becoming a mom was an incredibly shocking experience because I went from doing everything on my own terms to all of a sudden having a child who needed you. And it's interesting that you called out 18 months. You really needed him most. That's round about the time that I just started to feel a bit myself, and the cloud of the hormones started to lift. So how did you handle that conversation? Because you said that it completely caught you by surprise, and it sounds like his mind was made up. So was it a long process for the separation, or was it pretty quick and you decided to accept it?
Well, I did in all my being for us to at least work it out. I didn't want to share anything with no friends, no family, just keep it in my own home, try to sort things. But again, like you said, he had made up his mind and I had to respect that. My freedom ends where his freedom begins. And if this is something he wants for himself, I cannot stop him. Of course, I've recommended that we do different like therapies together, but he didn't want to meet me halfway, let's say. And he was not ready. So the best way was to part our ways. And I come back to the practice of yoga and meditation for me because I come back to myself and I check in on myself all the time. And I know I'm full and I'm enough. You know, I'm not going to be happier if there's somebody with me or not. You know, I'm already full. So for me, I said, listen, I wish you a happy life. And what else? Like, how can we just find a way to manage? Now we have a child and then I have to manage this discussion late in my 30s. And then it hit me hard. It's not like I was young and foolish. It's like a conscious decision to have a child. But yet
Absolutely.
I said, it's his story, not my story. It's his way, his path. We don't know what God has in line for him. And I just have to say, I'll meet you here where you are, and I'll show up as a mom for our daughter. And this is it. But to support myself, I created a team. And this team could be with people who I've trusted so much that everyone is somewhere in the world, that every time my mind goes out of way, I would call. And I was like, listen, if you don't hear from me, you check on me. I'm not okay. And I was hoping I would avoid going out sometimes because I don't want people to ask me, how are you? Because I wasn't okay. You'd ask me, how are you? I would cry. I cannot answer, I'm okay, because I wasn't, you know. But to support myself, I used all the tools, all the techniques that I've learned. To me, it's like a whole building collapsed on my head, but I'm still alive. How can I get my head up? Can I get my neck, my shoulders, my feet? Because the pain for me was too much. I buried myself into studying. So I signed up to my master's degree. I got accepted. And I started learning. The evening time was the hardest for me, Stacey. You're married, like you wait for your husband to come home. This is your time as a couple when kids sleep, right?
Absolutely. And as well, when you become a mom or a parent, your priorities change and your focus can shift more to be spending time with family rather than spending time out of the house. Whereas when I was maybe in my 20s and 30s, I spent so much of my time out of the house and my apartment was basically just a crash pad. But I completely understand that's a quiet time. And especially once your child has gone to sleep, you're in a bit of vulnerability and you want to have somebody that you can share your thoughts with.
Yeah. And as a mom, this is where our men meet us really, like as we are, because the more they charge us, the more they give us, the more we give as moms, right? So the time that I felt that I'm being abandoned, I showed up for myself. I showed up for myself again. And I said, I understood that he didn't abandon me. It's not about me. It's his story. Again, the mind wants to trick you. He didn't abandon me at all. At one point, he spoke his truth. Then he didn't abandon me. This is that. So I was telling my mind a positive scenario. I was telling my mind a positive story. I rewired my mind to think positively. But first I started to like untie like a necklace, like when it gets, like you have a knot, it's bit by bit. So I said, okay, let me focus my mind on studying. That way my monkey mind will not long, oh, you're alone, he left you. So I don't let my mind go this route. So I keep my mind here and present and focused and busy. So I started doing this. And on the summer, I went and I stayed at a Buddhist temple with my daughter in Sri Lanka for 2 months. And I've got all the spiritual support that I could get. And then when I came back, I couldn't even at the time even offer my services. Imagine, I could not be there for anybody. I just had to be there for me, for my daughter. So I was studying constantly and finished my studies. I kept doing the healing work in parallel. I've done so many other modalities. Ice bath met me at times where I hated ice. I started jumping in the ice to deal with my pain. I've done Kriya where like I had to like tap my body and do like the expensive like breath work, hypnotherapy, all kind of modalities to support me. But then I gave myself the grace of time because we underestimate time could always be our allies. So I said,
Of
no,
course.
like I'll give it time. I'll give it time. And all along this time, I was also thinking maybe I should leave the country. Now but then I knew I was angry. So I gave my emotions a name and I became closer and closer to myself. And then after I finished studying, I knew I'm ready to start serving again, to start like offering my service because I was full at the time. Like I had dealt with my emotions and I know something will come back always every now and then, but I let it rise. I talk to my emotions. I talk to myself and then move past by it. So I started again with my services and then I don't advertise myself, but then people call me, I'm going through this, so and so through this journey of cancer. We need your support. Or a friend of mine is going through cancer. She doesn't know where to go. I would offer one-on-one sessions and I talk to them and then see what kind of support they need. And from there, I go on with the journey. And luckily for me, because I work, like I've been going up to the mountains for many, many years. And Fadi and I, we work together for many, many years. The Ras Al Khaimah tourism started contacting us for sound healing and meditation up and so the job started coming like it's like abundance of everything you it's coming your way. Just be yourself.
Yeah, hearing everything that you just described in such great detail, especially with how you felt going through the divorce, having the child, and the way that you approached healing more specifically is very mature and not easy to do because you navigated the separation of mind and emotion. And oftentimes people lead with emotion and their mind becomes so fuzzy that they cannot think clearly. And it sounds like, quite honestly, the years well before you even got married, when your friend had said to you, you don't know how to deal with your emotions, and pushed you in the direction of learning how to face that, was actually preparing you for these moments, and finding yoga and finding the ability for you to step outside of yourself and say, take a pause, and also to tell your ex and acknowledge that this is not about you, it's about him, and that there's nothing you could do to change him. And that's something where I see so many women in relationships, even myself included. I'm sure I have some relationship history where I thought I could change the person. And throughout life, I've learned that you really cannot. And it's better if you can accept and acknowledge. And I also want to give you a round of applause for also finding your team, because mental health is such a topic that is in the spotlight. And fortunately, it's now so encouraged for people to be vocal and say when they need help. However, not everybody is able to do that. So I want to ask you, many women listening right now might be in the middle of their own healing, and they might be facing difficult situations, and they might unfortunately not have had the preparation that you had, where it really allowed you to approach your difficult times with balance. What do you wish someone had told you when you were in it? Or do you have a message for women who are maybe in it and can't see things the way that you saw things because their emotions are overcoming them? How should they try to park those emotions and be able to heal themselves?
I would tell every woman that, first of all, to feel your emotion. Do not run away from your emotion, because I don't know what we've been taught. Like, our emotions are just signal. It's the body's signaling. What is it that the emotion that is keep coming to you in any experience that you may be facing at the moment? And then there is so many ways. Like, if we're not prepared ourselves, that's why we have to support. Someone has gone through the experience, ask for help. As simple as this: raise your hand, say, I'm not okay, I just need help. And this is what I personally did, is like, when I told you, I create my own tribe. So I used to imagine in my mind, I'm right in the center, and every time I'm falling, someone is like kind of helping me lean back to the center. So find your tribe, find your group, and do not give yourself the excuses. Money, I don't have the money to pay for this. Or there's so many support groups. Like on Facebook is like the abundance of information and support. Like, you just go message, you put yourself anonymous, I'm going through this situation. People will support you in ways to like find your courage to step up and then keep going. To every woman, you don't have to suffer alone. Okay. And most time what I see, because I also work with mothers, that most of the time we're good at hiding things. But why? Let it. Okay, what's coming to you and why we're not addressing it? Express. And the best and one of the most accessible, this is the best, huh? I'll have it. Write, journal, begin to like express it yourself. Art, paint it, cook, bake. Do not distract yourself with so much of even music, nothing. Just be with your thoughts while baking and see what's coming to your mind. See where the fear lands in your body. What scares you? And ask yourself, and right away, write it down, put it down and say, okay, I have this. Do I have the capacity to work on it, to change it? Yes. What's there to do? I cannot. Who to ask? Who to address it for to help me? And there is so many ways of support. If you cannot help yourself get there, lean to help around you in your community.
Really quickly, how did you, because at the beginning you said when your ex first delivered the news, you didn't want to tell anybody and you didn't want it to leave the home. So how did you get comfortable with then being so vocal and so, upfront with and being vulnerable that you needed the help? A journal? You're showing everybody a journal right now.
So much alone. I would be crying and writing and what I'm scared about. And I can't believe this is happening and everything that was coming to my, because I was just alone in this. Like that was my safety. That was my to go, because I didn't want to, I'm like, what if things get fixed? Like, why do I want to share it with my outer, and let me try to fix things on my own with what I can. So I leaned on journaling in the beginning. I think that was very helpful to a certain point. Later on, I needed other help. So you start step by step. You have to meet yourself where you are at the moment. And at the moment, I couldn't tell anybody. So the only thing I could say is talk and write it to myself. So that was my way of addressing, of expressing. I didn't suppress it. I let it out. And this is where I've learned also through the journey of cancer, because cancer is a form of suppression. And I knew how suppressed I was before. As I promised myself that I'm always going to express myself, always, in any form, shape, way. So when I was going through the experience, I journaled.
Yeah, that's really powerful, because basically when you do write things out, it's another form of it decoding from your brain and making sense of what you're feeling, because it's in a physical sense with the ink and the paper. I want to ask you about how things are now with your ex. Obviously, you have transitioned to a better place emotionally and personally, and it's been quite some time now. Have you been able to manage striking the right balance with co-parenting?
First, I will never call him an ex. He's present.
Okay.
He's so present. He's the father of my child. And
yeah,
the work you do it for you. I do my own work. The way how he shows up. It's his again. What I've learned is to find my own way to accept my reality without judging where he is, because these moments could be very triggering, because now we're not together. Your mind can find so many excuses. I don't want to be that person. I want to find reasoning. I was like, maybe he's angry that he said that. Maybe, I don't know why, and then I think the more you manage yourself, the more you manage your own emotions, the more you manage your own peace, you show up peacefully to anything. So I always meet in a way that we are here equally responsible for her well-being. And the more we show up peacefully, the more we give her something, also an indirect learning for her, that not all the time we're going to take the right decisions in our life, but what are we going to do about it? Also, whatever you want to call it, I thought he's the man, but then didn't happen. It doesn't mean he's a bad person. And this is where the education comes at home, and it's very important. So everything we do, I'm responsible of myself, how he shows up to it. I'm responsible of my own reactions to everything he shows up. He tries his best. God bless him. And we're grateful for the effort. And whenever he can, he is. And, we're always trying to find ways to make our child happy. On birthdays, on random times, we go for lunch together and play games together, sit on the floor, have pizza, means he's not my husband, or he's no longer exists. He's in my life as present. And I think the best way to look at it is, when I'm feeling worked out, I just manage my own emotions. And I ask, when he did this, what triggered me? Why? And I use everything to better myself. Imagine.
Yeah, it's really admirable the way that you are able to remain grounded and control your emotions, and especially not use those to have a reaction in a situation. I want to talk about now what it means to really own your joy after everything that you've been through, because you had many dark times, but talking to you, and especially for the people that watch the video, they can just see how much you light up. So I'm curious, what brings you joy right now? And what is like that deep soul, purposeful joy that you have been able to find after all of these hardships?
Stacey, all the work that we do, the training for our mind, okay, it helped us expand in ways that we've never thought we could. So I feel like all these years of working on my mind, working on myself, had helped me find joy first in my own skin, in my own being. I'm okay. And you know too well the journey of motherhood as well, that your body changes, your look changes. I don't want to change. Like, I do what I can. I don't do it to look good. I do it to feel good. It doesn't matter what the whole world says on my size. I'm happy with my size, with my height. I'm happy with myself of where I am today with myself. So nobody is bringing me joy in the world more than how I show up to myself, because what's constant for everything in my life is myself. My baby, she's here with me for so on in God's willing. After that, she's gonna go to her school, to university, and I'm left by myself again and again. And I feel like the joy that I found something that I work with all my heart without second thought. Whatever I share it with my heart. I never look how much money I'm getting from it. Of course, you want to be rewarded, but for me, it's the love of doing what I do. I can show up to my work dressing the way I want to dress up, not because there's a certain attire I have to fit in to be accepted or no. I love that I show up the way I want to show up to the world. And maybe it took me many twists and twirls and redirection, but finding that, I think finding my joy is like, I've earned it so much. No one is taking that away from me. Anyway, it's not even a question anymore. I've reached to that highest point in my being where I finally accepting where I am. And, you know, even you meet people one time and you see shifts in their life, and it's something that I've shared with them, that you feel so good within you that continue to show up for yourself, and everything it's like a domino effect in this life.
Yeah, you get what you put out, the energy that you get out. It's a boomerang effect, and it's coming back to you. And I really love hearing that you have reached this full place of inner peace, joy, but more importantly, abundance. And abundance is something that can mean different things to other people. And you have chosen to protect your peace and guard your peace.
Yeah.
And I really love how freeing you are in terms of being able to be authentically who Lina is, and showing up for yourself and making sure that no matter what you face, it's not going to be taken away from you again, because you know how to cultivate that inner joy, and you have the tools to face whatever life is going to handle you. And I think it takes time. It's a journey. It's not a linear pathway to reach this kind of place. And whatever obstacles people face in life are there for them to learn and evolve and hopefully come out on the other side ahead. What are you working on now? So now that you have reached this place, I know you mentioned earlier about Yogi Truck, and that's kind of been your main mission, but now I think you're working on some other things. Where are you looking to take things forward with what you do and how you serve others?
Look, for me, the path is always so clear, and the time of Yogi Truck had to come is not the major highlight in my life at the moment, because it's became my lifestyle, the outdoor, the everything. So now moving forward, I feel there is a big gap. I did my thesis around supporting cancer patients in their healing. So I wanted to dig deeper to see in my community, what's the support that cancer patients are receiving psychologically. And there is a big gap. And this is where I think my work is coming to fulfill that. I'm taking this to a next level, hopefully by end of the year, beginning of next year, and an online program that I'm going to be sharing, hopefully not just with my community here. It's going to be open to supporting cancer patients on their journey. Not only
That's
that, with moms.
beautiful.
Thank you so much. With moms as well, because finding our ground as moms is quite tough, and having a supportive community that we could just share where we are, and sometimes you need some guidance. I feel like my work is going to come to like support moms on their journey as well. And I'm opening holistic healing modalities because not everything I know. Let's say if someone approached me when I'm working with someone, and if there's something I cannot be of service, I say, I have exactly the person, I know exactly who can guide you to that. So I link people with the right people to support their healing journey as well. So it's a project that's been in the making since the beginning of this year that I hopefully see the light to it by end of this year. And yeah, this is my coming project coming.
I hope so, because I might need to take advantage of that after having the twins. I have no idea what this life transformation will do to me, frankly. On the note of motherhood, I want to ask you, if your daughter listens to this conversation years from now, what do you hope she hears?
I hope she hears that she's loved so much, so much, that everything in my being, I feel she takes in that love always wins. Really, that choosing herself will be a win anyway. It's never a lot. You don't lose anything in this life. You just gain and gain and gain. And I'm grateful with all my being to have the experience of motherhood with my daughter, because she's really teaching me so much, Stacey, and you know better as well with children, like they don't come with a manual, and we just have to figure out on our own with them. And they mirror us so much. We mirror, like, there's so much in this journey, and I'm so grateful that she's a big part of it. And I hope she always chooses forgiveness and love, and that light is always her guide.
That's a really empowering message. And I really appreciate the part that you say about children mirroring us, because as a parent, it is a beautiful thing to experience in life where you repeat childhood. But as an adult, you see what it's like to be a child, because for me, at least, there's a lot of memories that I don't have from my childhood. I don't remember them. And so to experience these simple joys in life and these different milestones that they go through, it's a really wonderful thing. Lina, I want to say thank you for sharing your truth so openly today. I mean, this conversation has been a gift for me and for the women listening who are likely somewhere between breakdown and breakthrough. And what you've really shown us is that it's okay to be both grounded and rising at the same time. For anyone that's listening who's in that middle space, who isn't quite broken, but also who isn't quite yet healed, what would you say to her? What would be a final message that you would want to give to somebody who's navigating this gray space?
I would say you are exactly where you need to be. Navigate your days one day at a time and check in with yourself constantly. You are the center of your own home. And the more you work on yourself, the more your home will be in place. And you know that there are many ways, many support. There's so much out there. Start with what you know and seek help when you need to, and one day at a time. Do not live in tomorrow when tomorrow hasn't arrived, when you still have things to deal with today. So one step at a time, anything can be done. I've done it myself.
Yeah.
Be where you are with all the emotion, all the mess, everything that is landing for you today, be with it. Do not try to bypass it, because there is a big, massive learning, and find quiet moments in each and every day to check in with yourself, see what you need, what your body needs. Check in with your body, and the body is our home, is our temple. Take good care of yourself, and the rest will fall in place as you fall in place,
That's really beautiful. Thank you so much, Lina. And I hope to see what you're doing later this year. Thank you for joining us.
Stacy, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I loved our conversation. For many more to come, and I can't wait to listen to the rest of your podcast as well.